Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I'd like to welcome you out to my backyard on this beautiful blue sky but chilly morning. Yes, the breeze is a bit chilly today. All right, today I am going to be harvesting Lyre Leaf Sage. It also goes by cancerweed and many other names. I'll have more information in the description box below. Yes, it is known as cancerweed. This is a very old medicinal, and you can also take the leaves and also macerate them up and put them on warts, and you'll make warts go away. And it's a very important medicinal. I've got it all over my backyard. I let it just grow wild as much as I possibly can. Here is the beautiful flowers. This is what is called lyre leaf sage. This is the flowers. Now, if you let it go to seed, you can harvest the seed and also use them as a poppy seed um, substitute. Also, you can mash the seeds up and soak them in a little bit of water, and it will pull splinters out. It'll pull glass out of your skin and a whole lot more. Let me get, I've got to unfortunately harvest several of my plants for the roots because I want the roots too. I got some of the roots of this one. This is the beautiful lyre leaf sage. Sometimes the leaves will be a dark green, a light green. They can have purple markings. Hold on a minute. Okay, we're going to try it again. That was a helicopter of all things. The leaves can look like this, or they can be green, and this is a wonderful medicinal. Now, the leaves and some of the stem I will use to make tincture with. The roots and leaves I will use to make an oil to make salves with. And I'm also going to dry the leaves as well because it's a wonderful, if you have spring allergies, you can dry the leaves and mix it 50-50 with dried goldenrod, and it will definitely work on your spring or seasonal allergies. And I definitely want more of the roots. So thankfully I have bukus of the plants growing wild in my backyard. So I will be harvesting some of the roots, a whole bunch of leaves, and some of the stems as well. But it is a wonderful, beautiful plant and a very old, important medicinal that many have forgotten about. Very important. Another very important spring tonic. The roots aren't really big. And of course, I'm going to wash these up before I use them. Make sure there's no bugs. But look at that beautiful plant. I do hate to pull them up, but the roots are extremely important to make the salve, to make the medicinal oil, which I will bring you along. This will be the beginning, the opening of 3 videos, because I'm going to show you how to make the oil, how to make the tincture, and how to dehydrate it for tea. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? And so many people consider them weeds when it's an extremely important medicinal, especially for skin cancer. Also, the salve will heal cuts, wounds, scrapes, any skin ailments. And the tea for with the leaves is good for colds, coughs, congestion, and many other inflammations and problems within. And of course, I'll have in each video information in the description box below. So I'm fixing to get busy because everything I harvest, I gotta weigh. That way I can add it all up, and I will bring you back as soon as I get done. I'll see you after a while. Alright, since I'm part of the global gardening and homesteading community, I have to weigh my Lyre Leaf Sage. And I got a good harvest this morning. Zero that out. Have a whole bunch of loose leaves. Now, these can be eaten as pot herbs as well. If you get them young, they can also be added to salads. They have, even though they are classified in the mint family, they do have square stems, and they have a slight light mint taste to them. They are in the salvia family. I was busy this morning, let me tell you. I don't want to waste nothing. Everything matters. All right. 8.4 ounces just for the loose leaves. Put this on, zero it out. And now I'm going to weigh all the whole plants that I harvested. Come on now. 2 pounds, 8.6 ounces. So that's a pretty good weight of Lyre Leaf Sage. And when I bring you back, we're going to be in the shed of many names. Hello and welcome into the shed of many names, where we're going to get busy with the Lyre Leaf Sage plant, making an infused oil. So I can make at a later date salves for any skin issues like cuts, sores, wounds, skin cancer. Many studies done about the skin cancer. This is a very old, well used back in the day medicine, and that's why its second name is cancer weed. So yes, very important. Medicinal that grows in your yard. And well, a lot of people that have to have that grass, yeah, call it a weed. So let's get busy. And of course, first thing I want to talk about, make sure that your area is clean and sanitized. This is the top part of my old double boiler, which I am beyond thankful to have. These little things here are the root of the Lyre Leaf Sage, And to me, they remind me of a lot like iris rhizomes. So you need to make sure that you get all of the root if possible. I have washed them very good. Here's a prime example why I say it reminds me of irises. For anybody that grows irises, does that not look like? Let's see. Come on, focus. Reminds me a lot of. There we go. Reminds me a lot of like a baby iris rhizome. Alright, I've got the roots here. I have washed them. They have completely dried from being cleaned. And I have leaves, stalks, and the flowers because I want to make a very potent infused oil. Last but not least, I use olive oil. Not extra virgin olive oil because it has a shorter shelf life. I use just good plain olive oil. Read the label and make sure that is all that it is. So I'm going to cut the roots up into pieces so the oil has an easier job getting in and sucking out all the wonderful medicine that's in these roots. Some of them are really tiny, so you really don't have to worry about it. Now, if you notice the leaves and stuff look a little rough, that's okay. I have let them wilt down some. That way their moisture content is low. They still have the medicinal benefits inside of them, but a whole lot less of the moisture, which can cause your oil to go rancid. And yes, olive oil can go rancid, especially if there's a high water content in it. And yes, I leave the little root hairs on as well. Like I said, if they're little, I just leave them whole. You just want to make sure that you get all the dirt off of them. They might look dirty to you. These are just really dark roots. I'm going to continue up with the roots and I will bring you back as soon as I'm done. Okay, now when making the infused oil, you're going to want to make sure that you have a lot of roots. And what I done is for every root, I used the whole plant, the leaves, the stem, and the flowers that was connected to that root. That's why it looks like there's a whole lot more leaves than roots. And I'll tell you, the roots do not like to pull up easily. So make sure you have a small trowel, a hori-hori, or a good digging knife. So that way you can get those roots up. Now, of course, there's two ways that you can make your infused oil. You could do it the cold oil method, which where you put the plant in a jar and cover it with the oil and let it sit and steep. I have found that way sometimes a little tricky because it's an easy way for mold to happen, especially if you have a lot of moisture in your plants. I do the double boiler method. I do not let my water in the bottom pot come to a boil. I don't even let it come to it's just below a simmer because you don't want your oil to get overheated, but you want it just warm enough so that it will infuse and pull out all the medicinal benefits of the wonderful Lyre Leaf Sage. And of course, you do not have to make as much as I do, but I make salves to sell, so I make a lot of my own oil. So I use the bigger amounts. And you want to make sure that all the plant material is very well covered with oil. And of course, you can smush your plant material after it's done to get all of the oil out, but you're still, no matter what, going to lose quite a bit of your oil. And that's why I make the bigger batches. And I try to make sure I get as much of the oil out of the jug as possible because it's getting ridiculous what they want for a jug of olive oil. But as you can see, all of the plant material is covered by oil. And don't worry, as this heats, the plant material is going to shrink and technically cook down, even though that it's not going to be hot enough uh, to actually cook it. You want it just warm enough, like I said, below simmer. You want it just warm enough so that it can extract all of the medicinal benefits out of the roots and the plant material. Now, I'm going to take you over to the stove and I'll bring you back here in just a bit. Okay, I have my flame on low. This is the bottom pan to my double boiler. Let me get my other pot. And that nestles down in it. I'm gonna have to get a little bit more water I'll add to it. Now, I'm gonna let this steep until all the plant material is translucent and I know that it has lost all of its life force into the oil, and your oil should get very dark. Now, another thing you will need is a stirring utensil. What I usually use is a chopstick. I like my chopsticks This one is for high heat. Even though this isn't going to be high heat, I know I'm not going to have to worry about it. You want to stir it up. Of course, it's not warm yet, but you want to make sure you get all air bubbles out and the oil is surrounding the plant material very well. I'm going to make sure you got a container to put your chopstick or stirring instrument in, and any oil that runs down off the chopstick will get caught in it, and you can put it back into the pot. Now, until it gets warmed up, I do put a lid on top of it, and I'll let it go. Of course, once it comes up to temp, I will take the lid and do it off to the side a little bit so that the water, that what little bit of water's in it, can evaporate out. Until it heats up, I put the lid on it. Alright, once it is done, I will bring you back. See you here after a while. Okay, my oil has been slowly heating for a little over 5 hours now. I am going to cut the heat off and let it cool down. A lot of the leaves have lost all of their color, and it is time to let it cool down, and then I will bring you back when it's time to strain it and put it up. I'll see you after a while. Welcome back. The Lyre Leaf Sage oil is finished. I let it cool down so it could pull out more of the last of the medicinal benefits out of the sage plant, and then I heated it up just a little bit to make it easier to strain. Now, as always, before we get started, make sure your workspace is clean and sanitized, and all of the utensils and jars that you're going to be using. Now, I do a double strain on mine because I like to make sure that the oil is clean, and then I keep most of the plant material out as possible. So, let's get started. I have a large measuring cup with a metal strainer. It'll get the bigger stuff out of the oil, and then when I go to put it into my jars, I have a canning funnel and these wonderful filterless coffee filters, especially ones that have the bottom screened as well. This will get all the little bitty stuff out. And like I say, I double filter mine. And like I said, this is hot. You want to try to waste no, and as I said, I see 2 drops. You want to try to waste none of the oil if possible. And you want a spatula so you can press out as much of the oil as possible. But look how beautiful and dark that oil is. And like I say, I make big batches of oil. You don't have to make as large of a batch. Hold on a minute. Okay, I was trying to get it a lot less dark. But you don't have to make as big of batches of oil as I do. You can start out with smaller batches. And when it's warm, it's a whole lot easier to strain. Just want to make sure you don't overfill your funnel and your strainer. I have done that before. This is going to make some amazing salve. I'm going to set that aside. And we're going to strain some more. And there's a lot of little particles left in the bottom, if you can see them. I'll leave a little bit of room so that I can smush down the plant material. Because you want to try to get as much of the oil out as possible. Now, just know you're not going to get every drop of oil out because it's still going to retain some. But you can get most of it out. And what do I do with my leftover plant material? I'll put it straight into my big compost pile. It won't hurt a thing, y'all. If you don't have a big measuring cup, you can use a smaller one. Just have to make sure that you have a strainer that will fit it. Okay. And I want to, even though I don't think I got any on the side, on the lid. Oh, good grief, the rim. There we go. I'm still going to wipe it down. Putting up my lid and band on. And look at that beautiful Lyre Leaf Sage oil. Yep, I'm going to have to get a different jar because I don't want to waste any of this. I'll be right back. Okay, we all have learning curves every once in a while. From now on, make sure that your funnel end will fit into the jars that you're using. They will not work if you try to balance it on the rim because, yeah, I wasted precious oil, but it's a learning curve. So we'll continue to filter the oil, and I will bring you back as soon as I'm done. And like I showed you, I will continue to mush the plant material and get as much oil out as possible. And I'll bring you right back when I'm finished. Okay, I'm finally done mushing and straining. And a lot of people wonder why I double strain. Here is a good proof why I double strain. See all that fine particles in the filter. Some of those are seeds, unfortunately, because I wanted to make sure that this oil was extra Lyre Leaf Sage strong. I used leaves and flowers as well as the roots. I used the whole plant to make it more well-rounded. Now, I caught myself. Even I make mistakes, y'all. So, we're all just human. We are meant to make mistakes, but I should know better. But I caught it in time. I forgot to add my vitamin E oil, which is a natural preservative and also boost up the oil's medicinal values as well as preservative. So it'll have an even longer shelf life. And thankfully the oil is still warm so that they will blend together. Now I use gel cap vitamin E. It's pure vitamin E oil inside. I do not use the outer caps. You just want to snip it a little bit and you mush all of the vitamin E oil out. And don't worry if some gets on your fingers, guess what? You can rub it on your skin. Now for this half-gallon jar, I'm going to use 5 vitamin E capsules. They are 1,000, what is it, IUs. So these are really strong. And of course, vitamin E not only is a preservative, but a healer as well. And that's why I say make sure that your hands are clean and sanitized as well. And once you get it on you, the oil, just be careful because things become slippery. Alright, I'm going to add 5 of these to this jar and I'll bring you back. Okay, I have the 5 vitamin E caplets added to this jar. And since the oil is warm, I'm going to put a It's not burning hot, but it is warm. And plus, I've got vitamin E a little bit on my hand. I want to make sure that the jar does not slip out of my hand. And all you're going to do is what I do normally when I do my oils. I put the vitamin E in the jar first and then let the oil slowly mix together. Okay, that one's done. Okay, for this quart jar, I'm going to add 3. I said make sure you squeeze them and get all that wonderful vitamin E oil out. And if you notice, I scrape the last drop to where it goes on the inside of the jar, not on the outside. That way when I mix it, the oil will get that as well. Okay, that one's done. Always wipe your rim just to be on the safe side. I gotta get a lid and a band for that one. And for this one, I'm just going to add 1. Just 1 will be plenty for this one. And of course, that will give it a longer shelf life, as well as making it even a tad bit more medicinal. And if you notice, I'm rubbing the vitamin E oil on it. Alright, I gotta get 2 lids and 2 bands, and I'll be right back. Okay, finally done. Man, I tell you, there's always a learning curve, never fails. It all depends on how you take it. I find it funny that I made mistakes like I did, but we all are still learning, no matter what. Now, I automatically know this is oil, so all I'm going to do is label it Lyre Leaf Sage 523. Now, do not worry. Your oil will continue to darken some because it's the plant material in the oil will start showing itself even more. Especially as it cools down. That's not a bad turnout for that batch. If I wouldn't have made my mistake, I would have had just a tad bit more. But hey, we all have to learn. That's a half a gallon jar full, a quart jar full, and maybe just a hair. No, I'm just going to say that's a jelly jar's worth. Simple, easy. You can do it. And as you notice, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. I hope this encourages you to also make your own Lyre Leaf Sage oil. And next week, I will be showing you how to make the salve as well. Simple, easy, anybody can do this. You just need the plant material, fresh is what I prefer, and olive oil, and either a double boiler or a makeshift double boiler. If you can do it in a crock pot on low or keep warm, you just want to make sure that it doesn't simmer. You want it to stay warm but not simmer or boil, because in your plant material, if it simmers or comes to a boil, you're frying your plant material, and that won't work. You want to keep it low and slow. If you have a really good crock pot that can keep it just warm, you can let it go overnight. I can't do it with the double boiler because I have to make sure, and that's another thing I need to bring up, make sure that you keep an eye on the water in your double boiler and never let it run dry. Simple, easy, and some amazing healing oil, which will be some amazing salve here soon as well. Now, you don't have to make it into a salve if you don't want to. You can use the oil just like you would a salve. Just a little bit goes a long, long way. Now, of course, as always, I'll have more information in the description box below this video. I hope you have enjoyed this and it encourages you to make your own medicine, knowing that you're going to heal yourself and not be drugged along by you know who. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Y'all stay safe and sound and be positive. You can do this. If I can do it, you can too. Anybody can do this. Continue to stock your pantries with food that will sustain you, medicines that will heal you, as well as protection and the absolute necessities that you will need to come. Everyone, take care. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and may you each be blessed. Hoot hoot.